Do you know that every year 275 million tonnes of plastic waste is generated and that more than 8 million tonnes ends up in the ocean? It's a substantial social issue, devastating marine life and ecosystems and even impacting your own health through the consumption of microplastics. To combat the characteristic slow degradation of plastic resin, recycling is a valuable method to reduce plastic production and waste in the environment. In Australia, businesses account for more than half of the plastic waste generated. However, plastic packaging, which accounts for around 20% of the nation's waste, is also highly recyclable. Despite this significant market opportunity and the desire of businesses to meet growing consumer demand for corporate social responsibility, only 12% of the plastic waste generated in Australia in 2020 was recycled, with 81% going to landfill. Well, at ProCycle, we're trying to solve the plastic waste epidemic. Our social innovation targets retail businesses in Sydney, Australia. The reason for which is very simple, due to the scalability offered by the city's thousands of enterprises and their significant application of single-use plastics and packaging. What we do is we take their plastic waste, charging a fee for its removal, and after sorting and cleaning, recycle it into plastic pellets, from which almost all plastic products are constructed from. However, instead of having our hard work be used to create more plastic bags and bottles to end up out at sea, ProCycle partners with local councils to have these pellets used for construction projects in the community. This is supported by the Remade in Australia campaign, founded by the federal government in 2019, which encourages and assists with recycling plastics into public amenities such as boardwalks, playgrounds, and even roads. So as you can see, we provide significant social impact to not only the environment, but the local communities which you and I both live in. Therefore, ProCycle's dedication to improving the environment and human capabilities, addressal of the Sustainable Development Goal of responsible production and consumption, and non-for-profit mission defines us as a social enterprise. Additionally, this financial self-sustainability, along with our enactment of process innovation by developing a more effective and sustainable method of waste disposal for businesses, exemplifies social entrepreneurship. The root cause of all this plastic waste is the cheapness and convenience of plastic products surrounding their production and consumption, making the move towards alternatives difficult. Therefore, the underlying theory of change for ProCycle is spearheaded by the long-term goal and mission of reducing plastic waste in the environment through improved recycling processes and sustainable application. Through innovative technology, devoted human resources, and partnerships with local businesses and councils, our collection, recycling, and sustainable repurpose of plastic will reduce waste in landfill and the natural environment. This will alter behaviour through the increased prominence of recycling in the community and publicity generated from involved businesses looking to enhance their retail image, culminating in greater awareness for the social issue of plastic waste. Limitations of the current system for managing plastic waste include many plastic products being unfit for recycling due to remaining residue, poor recycling infrastructure, and the low-cost efficiency of facilities to manage and sort through all the plastic waste they receive. Applying systems thinking, the cheapness of plastic packaging and containers is resulting in the high production and uptake by businesses looking for reduced costs, with their single usage and inefficient recycling methods culminating in high amounts of wastage in the environment. In response, ProCycle reinforces positive feedback loops, such as recent innovations in plastic recycling and consumer pressure to reduce plastic waste. We also balance negative loops by sorting and cleaning consumables to improve recycling effectiveness and implementing our plastic pellets into sustainable projects that benefit the community instead of single-use consumables. Overall, our social innovation will save ecosystems, improve our communities, and even reduce the initial manufacturing of plastics, helping to leave behind a better world.
Plastic waste poses a big social and environmental concern for society, as previously stated by Aaron under problem part, which is why ProCycle is a business that falls under the waste and recycling industry. One of the primary causes of the harmful effects that plastics have had on marine life and climate change is in their use. ProCycle will help the worldwide plastics recycling market, which was last estimated to be worth $38.52 billion in 2021, by deciding to work in the waste and recycling industry. The market has grown as a result of increased investments in research and development activities brought on by the significant rise in the eco-friendly and sustainable products. The industry has been implementing technology for plastic recovery and recycling, which makes AI more efficient and cost-effective as it has been developing over time at a rapid rate. Every year, almost 130,000 tons of plastic leak into Australian streams and oceans. Approximately 1,280 kg of plastic are dumped into the ocean every hour. Only 12% of plastic waste was really recycled in 2020, and 81% of it ended up in landfills. Due to this, ProCycle has chosen to target retail companies, which are accountable for 55% of world's single-use plastic garbage, as well as local councils and eco-aware individuals who may aid in achieving the UN's SDGs much more quickly. Although the primary producers of plastic waste are packaging and building and construction sectors, ProCycle will first focus on retailers before gradually expanding to these sectors. People who care about the environment can participate as volunteers in activities the company runs to get people more involved in environmental issues. People who are unable to physically participate in these activities can still donate a certain amount to the company to help it meet its financial obligations. By agreeing to employ recycled plastic to create long-lasting products like bricks, playground, furniture, and other items, local councils may contribute. In the interim, ProCycle plans to focus on the Hills, Waverley, and the Northern Beaches before steadily aiming to expand into Parramatta, Blacktown, and the other Inner West councils. Other companies that collect plastic garbage could be ProCycle's prospective rivals, including its direct competitors, RedCycle and TerraCycle, and its indirect competitor, Cleanaway Waste Management Limited. Similar to ProCycle, its immediate competitors concentrate on gathering plastic waste and delivering it to facilities that recycle it into furniture, signage, or bollards. And TerraCycle takes in those plastics that are difficult to recycle and transform them into usable products. While Cleanaway is an indirect competitor because they collect all types of e-waste and develop recycling solutions for electrical and electronic items, and also collects plastic waste and provides it to recycling plants. ProCycle achieves a somewhat different result. It gives the collected plastic garbage to councils as opposed to recycling facilities so that the local community can benefit from improved products, which creates awareness. And with this, we can work together to achieve the SDG 12 as a whole. The stakeholders for ProCycle will be retail businesses, council, local community, logistics, eco-aware individuals, and in the future, the business will eventually expand into other states and countries.
ProCycle's primary activity is the process of plastic waste collection from retail stores in the suburbs of Sydney. The collection will take place through a utility vehicle arriving at said retailer, loading up, then travelling to the recycling stations or warehouse whereby the waste is sorted. Post-recycling, the products are then sold to the council. The money is then reinvested into the business to increase the operational capacity, either by purchasing more land, hiring more staff, investing in logistics assets such as vehicles, or by spending on marketing efforts to increase the reach of the business. ProCycle is a company that is driven to make the planet a greener place, which is why we're offsetting the emissions of our drivers. It is understood that vehicles create a significant level of carbon emission, so social organisations such as Green Fleet provide a service whereby a fee paid by an organisation such as ProCycle is then used by that business in ventures that offset the carbon emissions of our operationals. ProCycle's number one priority will always be to create a positive impact on the issue of waste pollution in our beautiful environment. That's why in the initial stages of the business's life cycle, we must focus on the reduction of plastic waste. Hence, the budget for marketing will be restricted in these critical establishment stages. At first, the marketing efforts will be made almost entirely on social medias that have algorithms that prioritise locally made content. This includes apps such as TikTok and Instagram. These will take place in the form of accounts with team members of any rank creating content that highlights the efforts of ProCycle, along with just general trending clips that adhere to the aggressive algorithms of these apps. These sort of social media marketing strategy has proven successful for similar organisations, and as well as organisations such as Anytime Fitness and Boost Juice chains, where employees of any rank are encouraged to start store-specific accounts where they create content either regarding the business or just general content while having the business's name in picture. Further, ProCycle wishes to sponsor local surf contests within the Northern Beaches. Due to the constant interaction with the ocean, surfers are often very environmentally conscious people and are likely to engage with social organisations. There is also plans for future to sponsor local rugby teams in the hills and Waverley areas when funding allows for it. The main value that is generated by ProCycle is the value in gaining a return on investment in a factor of business that is usually overlooked. The process of waste collection and disposal is already a cost on the accountant's books. This is usually listed as an operational expense. ProCycle provides businesses with the opportunity to change that into a public relations investment. What we mean by this is ProCycle's business partners are able to advertise that they are undertaking corporate social responsibility measures in the way of waste recycling. These businesses then receive a point of difference that they can advertise over their competition, which then can provide incentive for potential eco-conscious consumers to make the purchase decision within their company. It also keeps stakeholders of these businesses happy by utilising funds that were previously allocated to expenses that provided no return on investment as an effective responsibility strategy without drastically increasing expenditure.
ProCycle, as it grows, should be scaling in outward manner. Scaling out involves expanding the social impact by increasing the areas which are benefited by the non-profit. For the local communities that should be targeted next, we recommend Parramatta, Blacktown, and the Inner West councils. ProCycle's replication of their model into additional local government areas will increase the benefits and the social impact that is made by the company. This increased geographic reach should be done through branching, which is the creation of more local sites through one larger organisation. When comparing the different approaches of scaling out, it is recommended that ProCycle use branching, as it, despite its initial intensity of resource investment, it allows for greater levels of control and involvement within the expansion process. ProCycle's success relies on a strong relationship between the organisation and the local council. To ensure this successful operation of the recycling process, and partnerships with councils needs to be a high consideration of their capacity and willingness to participate within the initiative. Branching will allow ProCycle to increase and have high maintenance of levels of quality controls and allow for strong organisational culture. This is one of the primary reasons that branching is most effective, as it allows for this organisational control and ensures consistency among the processes and standards, as well as the impact, as it branches out into different areas and doesn't dilute the social impact. So if we start to look at the SROI, we can see that it's broken into two areas. We start off with the stakeholders, so the retail businesses, the local council areas of Hills, Waverley and the Northern Beaches, and then the communities within these local areas. There's a wide range of different intended and unintended changes, and these are involved in the actual outcomes of ProCycle and their operation. Each of these stakeholders also has a varied range of inputs. So this can come from retail businesses inputting the actual plastic waste as the material, as well as their time and effort and the annual fee involved in that subscription to collect their waste. Local councils, it's mainly the facilities of that recycling process. So looking at both the labour and the equipment within these. And then the local communities, it's their involvement and participation within those end products that are being produced. The value derived from each of these comes from a varied sources and statistics which have based off the assumptions and estimations to create the value. We have both value itself in non-monetary form, which is the facilities, the labour, and the materials. These aren't forms of revenue for ProCycle, but rather value coming from the different partnerships and the materials being inputted. On the other hand, we also have the monetary input from the retail businesses in the annual fee to get their rubbish collected from ProCycle. We then look further and we can look at the different outcomes that have come. So we look at the different amounts of waste. So we have 100 tonnes as the goal, and these goals of the different outcomes and outputs are focused on more of the SMART goals within the outputs as the tangible benefits, and then we have more of the holistic view with the outcomes, so looking at a cleaner environment as well as more sustainable businesses, and which will then help to achieve the UN Sustainable Goals. When we look at those outputs, we have a wide range of people being impacted within the communities, as well as more facilities being created, which helps to increase the recycling within Australia itself.
The origin of ProCycle's inception is rooted in the desire of growing and accelerating the corporate social responsibility in the waste management industry, as well as addressing the issue at its root, which is the sustainability of the inputs in the production value chain. ProCycle sits firmly in alignment with SDG 12, in particular Target 12.4, Responsible Management of Waste, and Target 12.5, Sustainable Reduction of Waste Generation. Targets 12.2, 12.6, and 12.8 synergize with overall operations of ProCycle. In summary, ProCycle's enterprise model is a hybrid of fee-for-service and market intermediary model, addressing both sides of the waste equation, production and disposal, therefore engineering a positive feedback loop that accelerates achievement of SROIs and ProCycle's growth. Organize the founding team into a structure that maximizes ProCycle's innovation, efficiency in pursuit of sustainable growth, profit, and adherence to the company mission. Jess as Chief Executive Officer and Chief Change Officer, Palak as Chief Marketing Officer, Ryan as Director of Business Development, Aaron as Chief Operations Officer, Marty, myself, as Chief Financial Officer. Management typology is organically structured and aimed to balance business strategy and a strategic mindset for growth, designed with allowance for pursuit of effectual exploration. Therefore, developing our theory of change for constructive innovation in order to supersede our mission. Our typology is inspired by both conventionally fat and circular organizations. The founders will constitute the board of directors with an accessory board of advisors. The C-suite officers will operate collaboratively and transparently with the rest of the employees. Communication and business development will be moderated essentially through the business development team in aid of the chief officers. ProCycle's business model is comprised strategically of 3 divisions in correspondence to 2 exchanges that illustrate the value chain: the logistics, the process manufacturing, and the administration. This current strategy empowers ProCycle to process 1,200 businesses weekly with a spare 15% logistical capacity to allow for growth with marginal underutilization. ProCycle has proven to be agile as we are now 2 years of age and yet to outgrow our first facility as a testament to our superior process. The CEO will deal directly with the execution of the implementation plan and adherence to SDG 12 via SRI monitoring. This is because they are the most agile of the team, affording them the capacity for radical change to meet shifting markets. The CEO and the CMO via the customer success team will aim to agilely adapt to industry client needs regarding Apple products to maximize their benefit from our partnership, therefore empowering them to adhere to SDG 12 objectives and fulfill ProCycle's mission. The CMO and their sales team will execute our marketing implementation plan while working in conjunction with the business development team in pursuit of the growth creation feedback loop to fuel ProCycle's economy of scale process efficiency. The CFO will provide assisting directions of real SRIO impact monitoring with aid from the accounting division to audit project and model growth. Summary: ProCycle is a sustainable plastic waste management firm that targets households and retail businesses' plastic waste. We responsibly recycle and repurpose plastic into input for industrial applications and local government. ProCycle's mission is to accelerate Australia's pursuit of SDG 12 responsible consumption and production by addressing the plastic value chain. The benefit for our clients is that they will be empowered to meet their environmental obligations and reap market approval from customers as well as green credits from regulators.